How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. Now on today's show we're going to be talking about the Premier League, and there were wins for Man City, defeats for Liverpool and a defeat for Arsenal.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. That's right.
So, of course, it's Monday morning, which means we get to look back on the Premier League games over the weekend. Lots went on, top and bottom of the table. And we're going to start with Saturday's games. Newcastle against Spurs. This was a very comfortable 4-0 win for Newcastle, and Tottenham were absolutely demolished. And it hasn't helped them in their quest for the Champions League, especially with Aston Villa winning at Arsenal on the Sunday. But yeah, just like last season at St James's Park, Tottenham absolutely capitulated. Not in the same manner that they did last year, but they still fell apart. And the first two goals in particular within the space of 90 seconds pretty much took the game away from Spurs. And yeah, it's looking very much like the fifth place is not going to be a Champions League place unless the likes of Arsenal and Man City go all the way to the final, and maybe Aston Villa, or it's looking very, very unlikely. So, you know, fourth place. And at the moment, that's in Aston Villa's hands. Brentford against Sheffield United, 2-0 win for Brentford. I think that all but confirms any lingering thought of them being in the relegation places. Sheffield United, they're already done. It's not mathematically, impossible that they can get out of it, but it's not going to happen. Manchester City 5, Luton 1. Very, very comfortable afternoon for Man City. And as it transpires, it was the perfect weekend for Man City, with Liverpool losing at home and Arsenal losing at home. The Premier League title is now in their hands. And when you look at the remaining fixtures, you've got to kind of look at that and say, it's done. Nottingham Forest against Wolves, 2-2 draw, a very entertaining game, but I don't know how much it does for Nottingham Forest. They will feel that that's 2 points dropped because they were the better side. But again, defensive frailties and mistakes is their undoing. But it was a very, very good game. Burnley against Brighton, 1-1 draw. And Burnley, you know what? Last couple of weeks, I've watched their goalkeeping mistakes. You look at the one against Everton and then this one against Brighton. Wow. That was... I can only reference it to some kind of like kids game, because that's where you would only ever normally see something like that. It's just staggering that that's happened to a Premier League goalkeeper, and just after Burnley take the lead. And do you know what? Burnley, when you look at their most recent results with, a couple of points added on without those goalkeeping errors, they would have had an opportunity to get out of the relegation zone. A slim one, but an opportunity. But yeah, if you haven't seen the goal that they conceded against Brighton, just go and watch it. That's all I'll say. Bournemouth against Manchester United, and Bournemouth will feel this is 2 points dropped, and they will also feel that the referee has favoured Manchester United, shall we say. The penalty that Manchester United got was just laughable. It's not a penalty, really. I've seen this referee recently where I haven't seen him before. He looks like he's quite a new referee, but I've seen enough of him to know that I wouldn't want him. It's just poor. And then Bournemouth thought they had a penalty in the 95th minute. And again, when you look at this, and the rules state that if a foul starts outside the box but continues in, it's a penalty. The foul didn't happen outside the box, and that's where it was. The foul started outside the box and it continued in the box. It's a penalty. It's not given, and it's a free kick. Absolutely mad. And Manchester United, listen, they've got major problems. Garnacho, after the game, was liking tweets from Mark Goldbridge where he was criticising the manager. It's another Jadon Sancho moment. He's now unlike those tweets, but they were there for all to see. And what happens now? Does he get the same treatment as Jadon Sancho? As far as I'm concerned, Erik ten Hag has lost the dressing room at Manchester United. And once again, player power will win over the manager at Manchester United. Whether that's before the end of the season, I think they'll wait until the summer. Going into Sunday's games. First one, West Ham against Fulham. And Fulham with a 2-0 win. West Ham flat, hangover from, the European game. They've got to try and get themselves up and see if they can overturn things on Thursday. But I don't think they're going to be turning things over against the now champions of Germany. But yeah, very poor from them. 3 points for Fulham. Liverpool against Crystal Palace. And this was a 1-0 win to Crystal Palace. And it was quite a mad game, to be quite honest with you. Crystal Palace in the first half took the lead. Very well worked goal. Really good. And then they should have had a second. It would have been a Steven Gerrard moment with Virgil van Dijk slipping over. And Robertson saved him with a goal line clearance. And then at half-time, 1-0, you're thinking Liverpool come out a completely different side. And believe me, they had chances in the second half. Poor finishing, unbelievable saves and clearances. But Crystal Palace also had their moments as well. Mateta, in particular, where he should have made it 2-0 near the end. And I don't know how he's missed or how Alisson saved it, whatever you want to call it. But Liverpool lost at home, and you looked at the players and the fans at the end, and it was like they were resigned to knowing that the title race was over and they were done. But maybe it's not over, because literally straight after that, Arsenal go and lose at home to Aston Villa. Game of two halves. I've already said in my match reaction and everything, first half we were so good, so dominant, and the only thing missing was goals. In the second half, within the first 10-15 minutes, you could see that it was a different Aston Villa. We lacked control, we lacked purpose, and nothing happened. There was no change, and Mikel Arteta got it very, very wrong. And then you're looking at it and you're thinking this game will just go out to a 0-0 draw. It's 2 points dropped. And the league would still be in Man City's hands, but it's 2 points dropped. And then with 5 minutes to go, we go and concede. And then we're chasing the game to try and get an equaliser, and they go and get a second. Staggering. Absolutely staggering. But the end of the day is what it is. We've lost. It's as simple as that. And when you're looking at the next round of fixtures, you've got Luton against Brentford, Sheffield United, Burnley. That's a big game at the bottom, isn't it? Wolves against Arsenal, Everton, Nottingham Forest, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Aston Villa, Bournemouth, and then Fulham, Liverpool. And what's interesting is that Arsenal actually play twice before Manchester City play again. So they can get themselves back to the top of the Premier League, and they would actually move 4 points clear of Manchester City. If they win those 2 games not 2 games in hand, but 2 games before Man City play. Yes, Man City would have 2 games in hand, but would it put a bit of pressure on them? Would it maybe, do a little something? I'm not too sure. I'm more worried about us winning games rather than Man City losing any. The midweek games then are Arsenal against Chelsea, Wolves against Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Manchester United, Sheffield United, Everton, Liverpool. That'd be a tough game for Liverpool, Merseyside derby. And then Brighton against Man City. That one could be, maybe, who knows, depends what Brighton turn up, but they've not been great of late. And then Liverpool away to West Ham. Can't see West Ham getting anything out of that, especially with the loving that West Ham seem to have with Man City and everything else, would, you know, they do him a favour? I still don't think so. Man City away to Nottingham Forest, I can't see too many issues with that one. And then Arsenal away to Spurs, tough as you get. So yeah, look, listen, it is what it is at the end of the day. And that is it for my DT's Daily. Let me know in the comment section what you think about the games over the weekend. And yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward. But I feel quite dejected, to be honest with you. So yeah, look, listen, if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button, smash a like on this video, and I will see you lot soon. I'm out of here.